A road and railway network running from southeastern Turkey through Iraq all the way to Basra on the Gulf.
A four-way agreement for a transport corridor. It's called the Development Road Project. The plan is to link Iraq's Gulf Coast to Turkey.
Iraq is undertaking an ambitious project that could change global trade as we know it. As the world continues to rely on the Suez Canal for much of its commerce, the risks associated with this narrow strip of water have become increasingly evident. But what if there was a way to bypass these challenges altogether? Iraq's plan to create a new trade route, which bypasses the canal, could revolutionize how goods travel between Asia and Europe. This mega project involves digging massive amounts of sand beneath the Persian Gulf to build a new road and rail network, promising a new era of international logistics. Could Iraq become the new trade hub of the world? Let's explore this groundbreaking project. The vulnerability of the Suez Canal. The Suez Canal has been a cornerstone of global trade since its completion in 1869. Today, it handles roughly 12% of global trade, with over 1 billion tons of goods passing through it every year. Yet, despite its importance, the canal has shown significant vulnerabilities. In 2021, the blockage caused by the Ever Given underscored just how fragile this vital route can be. With an average of 50 ships a day passing through, even a short delay can have catastrophic ripple effects across the global economy. But the Suez Canal's problems don't stop at occasional blockages. The political instability surrounding the region, coupled with rising tensions and attacks on vessels, has raised alarm bells for shipping companies and international trade. This realization has driven the search for alternatives. Iraq has seized this opportunity, proposing a new trade route that could bypass the Suez Canal entirely. Unlike the canal, this route would rely on a combination of land and sea infrastructure, reducing the risk of bottlenecks and geopolitical conflicts. But how realistic is Iraq's ambitious project? Is it possible to create an alternative that could handle the immense volume of global trade and remain resilient in the face of challenges? The project is still in its early stages, but the stakes couldn't be higher. One key advantage of this new route is its flexibility. If a ship gets delayed or stuck in transit, there's a clear solution. Take the goods off the ship and transfer them to a railway or road network. Unlike a waterway, where a ship's blockage can bring everything to a halt, Iraq's project offers a safety net, making the route less prone to total disruptions. This forward-thinking approach could solve many of the current vulnerabilities of the Suez Canal. However, Iraq is facing challenges on its own front. The country's infrastructure is outdated, and its railway network is almost a century old. To create an efficient transport system, Iraq must completely overhaul its existing systems. The damage from years of military conflict has left its road and rail infrastructure in a state of disrepair. The question now is, can Iraq manage the immense cost and effort required to rebuild from the ground up? To make the road and rail system viable, Iraq plans to build a 745-mile transport route that will link its ports to Turkey, bypassing the Suez Canal entirely. This road will handle goods from Asia and deliver them directly to Europe via land. However, it's not just about building a road. The railway must also be modernized to handle high-speed, high-capacity cargo. With speeds of up to 186 miles per hour, the new network will significantly reduce transportation times, making it an attractive alternative to the current maritime routes. Iraq's infrastructure overhaul doesn't come cheap. Early estimates suggest the project could cost between $17 billion and $20 billion. The cost, while astronomical, reflects the immense scope of the work. But the returns could be just as massive. Iraq could become a key player in global trade, drawing investments, creating jobs, and revitalizing its economy. However, these benefits will only materialize if the project is completed on time and within budget, something Iraq's government has struggled to manage in the past. For Iraq, this project represents more than just a trade route. It's a chance to regain its status as a regional power and position itself as an essential node in global commerce. The global economy is constantly evolving, and Iraq's ability to rise to the occasion will determine whether this vision becomes a reality or falls by the wayside. Is Iraq ready to take on the immense responsibility of revolutionizing global trade? Can Iraq's bold new trade route truly challenge the Suez Canal's dominance, or will the infrastructure hurdles prove too great to overcome? The ambitious Iraq Development Road Project. As global trade continues to increase, the vulnerabilities in established trade routes, such as the Suez Canal, have become increasingly evident. Iraq's response to this challenge is a bold, ambitious mega-project that could change the face of international trade. The Iraq Development Road aims to offer a viable alternative to the Suez Canal by linking the Persian Gulf with Europe through a combination of port facilities, railways, and road networks. But Iraq's plan is far from simple. It involves transforming an outdated infrastructure and creating new, modern networks that can handle the demands of global commerce. Can Iraq really pull it off? The Iraq Development Road is not just a modern construction project. It's a historic idea that dates back over a century. The Berlin-Baghdad Railway, proposed in the early 20th century, was designed to connect Germany with the Middle East, offering a more efficient route for trade between Europe and Asia. Although the railway was never completed as originally intended, it laid the groundwork for the modern concept of a transcontinental trade route through Iraq. The idea remained dormant for decades, only to be revived in the 1980s when Iraq sought to develop its port infrastructure. Today, this ancient vision is becoming a reality, though Iraq's path is far more challenging than anticipated. Despite its historical significance, Iraq's rail system has seen little development over the last few decades. Much of the country's railway infrastructure was built nearly 100 years ago, and it has suffered from neglect due to ongoing conflicts and economic instability. Iraq is now faced with the task of completely overhauling its rail network to accommodate modern freight traffic. This will require extensive investment and careful planning, but the payoff could be substantial as the country aims to link key economic hubs across Iraq and into Turkey, facilitating faster and more efficient trade to Europe. The Iraq Development Road is also closely tied to the development of a new megaport located on the Al Faw Peninsula. This port will serve as the gateway for goods arriving from Asia, providing a direct access point for cargo shipments. However, the challenge Iraq faces is not just in the size of the port, but in its location. Iraq's coastline is minimal, stretching just 36 miles along the Persian Gulf. The Al Faw Peninsula is the only part of the country with direct access to the Gulf, making it the ideal location for a new large-scale port. But creating a port of this magnitude requires innovative construction techniques to overcome geographical challenges. One of the most significant challenges Iraq faces in building the Al Faw megaport is the shallow depth of the Persian Gulf near the peninsula. The Gulf's average depth is around 115 feet, but near Iraq's shore, the depth is much less, sometimes as shallow as 16 feet. In order to accommodate large container ships that require deeper waters, Iraq has had to rely on massive dredging efforts. The goal is to create a channel 1,300 feet wide and 15 miles long, which will allow for ships with drafts of up to 49 feet to access the port. However, these dredging efforts come with their own set of complications. Not only must Iraq remove millions of cubic feet of sand from the seabed, but it must also contend with the constant sediment buildup that naturally occurs in this delta region. To address this, Iraq has implemented a breakwater system, a colossal structure designed to protect the port from both sediment and the powerful waves of the Persian Gulf. The breakwater has taken 8 years to construct, using 5 million tons of stone and advanced techniques to ensure that the port remains operational even under harsh conditions. The complexity of this project highlights the immense challenges Iraq faces in creating a port capable of competing with established global hubs. Yet, with the breakwater in place, Iraq is one step closer to realizing its vision. Beyond the construction of the port itself, Iraq is working on an ambitious road and rail network to transport goods from the port to Turkey, where they can be further distributed to Europe. This route will involve a combined railway and highway system stretching 745 miles across the country. The proposed railway will allow for high-speed travel, with speeds of up to 186 miles per hour, making it one of the fastest railways in the Middle East. Along the route, Iraq plans to build 15 railway stations, connecting key cities like Basra, Baghdad, and Mosul, which will not only improve trade efficiency but also boost Iraq's internal economic development. The costs associated with this massive infrastructure project are staggering. The initial estimate for the Iraq Development Road is around $17 billion, but with the addition of various logistical challenges and rising construction prices, the total cost could surpass $20 billion. While the price tag is high, the potential benefits for Iraq are immense. The new road and rail system could revolutionize the country's economy, providing much-needed jobs and improving trade efficiency. But these economic benefits depend on Iraq's ability to complete the project on time and within budget. The development of this trade route comes at a critical moment for Iraq. The country has faced years of conflict and economic challenges, leaving it struggling to rebuild its infrastructure. This project represents an opportunity for Iraq to re-establish itself as a key player in regional and global trade. However, it will require significant investments in technology, engineering, and planning to overcome the many challenges that lie ahead. Will Iraq be able to turn its vision into a reality and challenge the dominance of the Suez Canal? Or will its ambitions be derailed by unforeseen obstacles? Will Iraq's bold plan to create a new trade route rival the Suez Canal? Or will the immense challenges of infrastructure and geopolitics prove too great to overcome? Construction and geography. Iraq's plan to create a viable alternative to the Suez Canal isn't just about digging a few trenches or laying down some tracks. It's an immense engineering challenge. The geography of the region adds yet another layer of complexity to this ambitious project. The country's terrain, with its rivers, deserts, and shifting sands, requires innovative solutions to ensure the infrastructure is both functional and long-lasting. But can Iraq overcome these geographical hurdles, or will the natural environment prove too formidable to handle? The Al Faw Peninsula, where Iraq plans to build its megaport, presents significant geographical challenges. Located in a delta region, the soil near the shore is constantly being replenished by sediment from the Shat al-Arab River. This creates a moving landscape where the ground can shift unpredictably, making it difficult to build stable infrastructure. To combat this, the construction team had to use advanced piling techniques to create a strong foundation for the port's dock and quay structures. This technique involves driving large piles into the seabed while simultaneously pushing the platform forward, a method that reduces the reliance on waterborne transport and mitigates the risks associated with marine conditions during construction. The shallow depth of the Persian Gulf near Iraq's shores is another significant obstacle. With most areas of the Gulf measuring only 16 feet deep, it's a challenge to accommodate large container ships, which have much deeper drafts. For comparison, ships like the Evergreen container ship have drafts that extend more than 49 feet beneath the surface of the water. To meet this challenge, Iraq is investing heavily in dredging operations. The plan is to dig out millions of cubic feet of sand to create a deeper channel that can accommodate these massive vessels. But even once the dredging is completed, the sediment from the river will continue to fill in the channel, requiring ongoing dredging efforts. This creates a never-ending cycle of maintenance and construction, adding to the long-term costs of the project. Moreover, Iraq faces the issue of sandstorms, which regularly sweep across the region. These powerful storms carry large amounts of sand and dust that can clog machinery, disrupt construction efforts, and pose a threat to any future infrastructure. To mitigate this, Iraq's engineers have built an enormous breakwater. a structure designed to protect the port from both the natural forces of the sea and the desert dust that frequently blows into the region. This breakwater has already been recognized as the longest of its kind in the world, stretching across miles of coastline to shield the port from the relentless forces of nature. Despite its impressive design, the breakwater represents just one piece of the puzzle in making Iraq's port a success. The construction of a breakwater of this scale is no small feat. The project required the use of 5 million tons of stone and innovative methods, such as core lock units, which are specifically designed to dissipate wave energy and reduce the risks associated with erosion. However, constructing such a massive barrier comes with a steep price. Approximately half of the total cost of the breakwater, around $1 billion, was spent on these specialized units. This is a significant investment, but it's one that Iraq is willing to make to ensure the port remains operational, despite the harsh conditions of the region. The issues of sediment and the shallow waters are only compounded by the surrounding desert landscape. Iraq's coastal region, while geographically significant, is surrounded by shifting dunes and arid terrain. Sandstorms are a common occurrence, and these can carry sand out to sea, filling in the dredged channels and undermining years of work. This is why the construction of the breakwater is so crucial. It helps protect the port from the elements, ensuring that the vast amounts of dredged sand don't render the whole project moot. However, the ongoing battle against sediment and the desert's natural forces will be a continuous challenge for Iraq's mega project. As Iraq moves forward with the development of this critical infrastructure, it's clear that this project will require a delicate balance between engineering innovation and environmental considerations. Every solution to one problem seems to present a new challenge, creating a complex web of interconnected issues that Iraq must navigate to make its vision a reality. From the construction of the megaport to the creation of the Iraq Development Road, the country is working tirelessly to build a pathway that will not only boost its own economy, but also change the dynamics of global trade. Yet the success of this mega project isn't guaranteed. Iraq will need to ensure that all aspects of the construction process are completed on time and within budget. The geopolitical complexities of the region, ongoing security concerns, and the unpredictable nature of the environment make this project a high-risk endeavor. Still, if Iraq can successfully overcome these challenges, the rewards will be significant, not just for the country, but for the global economy. But the question remains: can Iraq's ambitious vision for a new trade route really compete with the dominance of the Suez Canal, the economic potential of Iraq's mega project? Iraq's mega project is not just about transportation. It represents an economic revolution that could reshape the country's future. With the construction of a new port, a modern railway system, and improved roadways, Iraq is poised to position itself as a new trade hub between Asia and Europe. But what are the long-term economic implications of such a monumental undertaking? Will Iraq's ambitious infrastructure changes elevate its economy to new heights, or will unforeseen challenges derail its progress? For Iraq, the potential benefits of the new trade route are immense. The creation of the megaport and development road could drastically reduce the time and cost of transporting goods between Europe and Asia. Currently, the Suez Canal is the fastest route, but disruptions such as the Ever Given incident in 2021 demonstrated how vulnerable global trade can be to blockages. With the Iraq Development Road providing a shorter route, approximately 15 days faster than the Suez Canal, it could offer a reliable alternative for global trade. If the project is completed as planned, Iraq stands to gain significant traction in international commerce. However, the economic challenges are just as daunting. The construction of such a vast infrastructure network comes at a steep cost, with estimates for the project climbing up to $20 billion. This colossal investment is a risk that Iraq will need to manage carefully. Can the country generate enough income from transit fees, industrial output, and trade to offset this cost and make the project sustainable? The success of the megaport will depend on its ability to attract consistent traffic, maintain global competitiveness, and leverage Iraq's strategic location to its advantage. The country is banking on a major economic transformation driven by the influx of trade traffic. Once the Iraq Development Road and Port are fully operational, Iraq expects to handle millions of containers per year and process tens of millions of tons of cargo. This influx of goods will not only boost Iraq's position as a trade hub, but also create thousands of jobs. With unemployment hovering around 15%, this mega project is being seen as a potential lifeline for the country's economy. As the port becomes a focal point for trade, sectors such as construction, transportation, and manufacturing could experience a much-needed boost, providing jobs and economic stability. But it's not just about exporting goods. Iraq plans to build industrial facilities near the megaport, including a steel mill and an oil refinery, that will allow the country to not only import but also export its own products more efficiently. This industrial growth could help diversify Iraq's economy, which has been heavily reliant on oil exports for decades. With the new infrastructure in place, Iraq could become a major player in the global supply chain, exporting a variety of goods in addition to crude oil. This diversification will be key to ensuring the country's economic stability in the long run. The port's potential impact on Iraq's economy could extend beyond trade. As the country becomes a focal point for international commerce, Iraq could see an influx of foreign investment, particularly in sectors such as technology, logistics, and manufacturing. Foreign companies may choose to set up operations in Iraq to take advantage of its new strategic position, creating a ripple effect that benefits other parts of the economy. Furthermore, the improvements to Iraq's infrastructure will make the country more attractive to tourists and business travelers, increasing revenue from industries beyond oil and trade. Despite the promising outlook, Iraq must remain mindful of the risks involved. Geopolitical tensions, security issues, and economic instability could undermine the success of the mega project. As the region's political landscape shifts, Iraq's ability to secure its infrastructure and maintain a stable business environment will be critical. Additionally, the country's ability to effectively manage the large-scale construction project and avoid cost overruns or delays will be key to ensuring its long-term success. Moreover, Iraq must be prepared to deal with the environmental consequences of this ambitious undertaking. The dredging process to deepen the channels around the port, while necessary, could have lasting environmental effects on the surrounding ecosystem. Iraq must ensure that it takes the necessary precautions to protect its environment while pursuing economic growth. Balancing economic development with sustainability will be one of the project's most important challenges. In the end, Iraq's mega-project represents a bold vision for the future, one that could position the country as a new global trade hub and stimulate a much-needed economic transformation. If the infrastructure is completed successfully, Iraq stands to benefit immensely from this project, both in terms of trade revenue and job creation. But the road to success is fraught with challenges. Will Iraq's ambitious plan deliver on its promises, or will the challenges of construction, financing, and geopolitical tensions derail the project before it can reach its full potential? Will Iraq's mega-project revolutionize the country's economy and transform it into a global trade powerhouse? Or will unforeseen obstacles hinder its success? The environmental impact of Iraq's mega-project. Iraq's ambitious mega-project, designed to revolutionize global trade by creating a new port and trade route, carries significant environmental challenges. The dredging required to deepen the seabed for accommodating large container ships could disrupt marine ecosystems, damage coral reefs, and increase sedimentation in the surrounding waters. To mitigate these impacts, Iraq is employing innovative construction methods like using concrete mats instead of traditional techniques, reducing the environmental footprint. The construction of the port also involves substantial land reclamation, which could harm the region's delicate coastline, causing erosion, reduced biodiversity, and water quality issues. Iraq's geographical vulnerability to sandstorms adds another complication, as these storms can exacerbate sedimentation and hinder port infrastructure development. To counteract this, a massive breakwater has been built to protect the port from sand and wave damage. Further environmental concerns include potential pollution from the planned industrial facilities, like steel mills and oil refineries, and the increased traffic that could further worsen the region's carbon footprint. Despite these challenges, the project offers Iraq an opportunity to lead in eco-friendly construction practices, setting new standards for sustainable infrastructure development. Can Iraq's mega project truly overcome its environmental challenges, or will the construction of its new port and trade route leave a lasting negative impact on the region's fragile ecosystem? The geopolitical ramifications of Iraq's mega project. Iraq's mega project is not just a matter of infrastructure, it is a geopolitical game-changer. By offering a new trade route to Europe, Iraq could dramatically shift the balance of global commerce and influence. The Suez Canal has been the dominant waterway for trade between Asia and Europe for decades, but as Iraq's mega project takes shape, it threatens to alter this status quo. Could Iraq's new trade route pave the way for a new geopolitical power dynamic in the Middle East and beyond? At its core, the Iraq Development Road Project is about reshaping trade routes and boosting economic ties between Asia and Europe. By building a modern port and transportation network, Iraq is positioning itself as a key player in global trade. The strategic location of the country, with its proximity to the Persian Gulf and access to Europe via Turkey, makes this trade route an attractive alternative to the congested and sometimes dangerous Suez Canal. If successful, Iraq's development project could offer a faster, more reliable, and more secure route for goods to flow between Asia and Europe. However, such a significant project won't go unnoticed on the global stage. Iraq's new trade route could draw the attention of international powers, especially those with vested interests in maintaining the dominance of the Suez Canal. For decades, Egypt has relied heavily on revenue generated from the Suez Canal, making it a vital economic lifeline. As Iraq's project threatens to siphon off some of that traffic, Egypt may find itself at odds with its neighbor. This potential shift in trade routes could lead to tension between the two countries, with both nations vying for influence in the region. Additionally, Iraq's growing economic influence could affect its relationships with other key players in the region. As the project advances, Iraq may see closer ties with countries like Turkey, which already has strong economic and political interests in Europe. By linking Iraq's new port with Turkey's infrastructure, Iraq could open up a direct route for European trade that bypasses the traditional Mediterranean routes. This could further deepen the strategic cooperation between Iraq and Turkey, both of which are vying for more influence in the Middle East. But the geopolitical consequences of Iraq's mega project are not just limited to regional politics. The project could also impact global trade flows. With the Suez Canal serving as a choke point for international trade, any disruptions to its operation can have far-reaching effects. By offering an alternative, Iraq could help diversify global trade routes, making the movement of goods less dependent on any single point of passage. In the event of a crisis or blockade in the Suez Canal, Iraq's trade route could become a lifeline for global commerce, further solidifying its strategic importance. The competition between Iraq's new trade route and the Suez Canal could also trigger changes in how global powers view the Middle East. With Iraq emerging as a trade hub, other nations may seek to strengthen their ties with Iraq to ensure access to the new trade route. This could lead to shifts in alliances with countries like the United States, China, and Russia, all keen to gain influence over Iraq's growing economic power. As the geopolitical landscape shifts, Iraq's position on the world stage could become even more crucial. Despite these opportunities, Iraq's project faces significant risks on the geopolitical front. The country must carefully navigate the complexities of international relations, especially in a region as volatile as the Middle East. Tensions with neighboring countries, political instability, and security concerns could threaten the success of the project. Iraq will need to work closely with international partners and local stakeholders to ensure that the project remains on track and doesn't become a source of conflict. In the coming years, as Iraq's mega-project nears completion, the world will be watching closely. Will Iraq succeed in positioning itself as a new global trade hub, or will it face obstacles that threaten its ambitions? The answer could have profound implications for global trade, regional power dynamics, and Iraq's future in the international arena. Can Iraq's new trade route truly rival the Suez Canal? Or will political and geopolitical challenges derail the country's ambitious project before it has a chance to change the global trade landscape? The future of Iraq's mega-project and global trade. Iraq's ambitious mega-project promises to be a game-changer for global trade, but whether it succeeds remains to be seen. With a $17 billion, possibly up to $20 billion, investment, a state-of-the-art port, a combined road and rail route, and groundbreaking construction methods, Iraq is clearly not shying away from challenging the status quo. This project could offer a faster, safer alternative to the congested and occasionally dangerous Suez Canal, revolutionizing trade between Asia and Europe while boosting Iraq's geopolitical influence. However, the road ahead is filled with challenges. Political tensions with neighboring countries, security risks, and environmental hurdles could all pose significant threats to the project's success. Furthermore, while the new trade route offers hope for diversifying global shipping and reducing dependence on the Suez Canal, it will need to prove itself in the long term. As Iraq's development project progresses, the world will be watching closely to see if it can live up to its potential and change the global trade landscape. With the project's completion expected in stages through 2025 and beyond, its long-term impact will take time to unfold. If successful, Iraq could become an essential node in the global supply chain, a vital alternative to the Suez Canal, and a key player in the economic development of the Middle East. But whether the route will achieve its full potential and survive the inevitable geopolitical challenges will determine its true legacy. The Iraq development project could reshape global trade as we know it. With ambitious plans and a strategic location, the road to success is full of potential, but it's also fraught with obstacles. As we continue to witness the progress of this transformative initiative, one question remains. Will Iraq's vision of a new trade route be able to withstand the challenges ahead and become a cornerstone of international commerce? Only time will tell. If you found this video intriguing, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more insights into global developments and cutting-edge projects that could change the world. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you won't miss any future updates. Thanks for watching.